Okay, how does the Coolhunter, if you like, or the concept of cool hunting relate to the process of creativity? Well, a lot of people would say that what the Coolhunter's actually doing is all they're doing is they're copying content of others, if you like. They're copying, work. They're looking, if you like, as from a Maffesoli point of view. If you take a neo-tribal subcultural group, they're looking at that subcultural group and they're looking at them and they're lifting what they're doing. Well, on the one hand, yes, they are copying, but also you've got to try and create off of that. And this links us back to creativity. So when we talk about creativity, here's a classic thing, and you can see the Coolhunters would do this kind of stuff. For basically, they acquire obviously information, or they see other things, they capture it, and they reinterpret it, they manipulate it for themselves. And more importantly, when you're adopting or trying to adopt this concept of Coolhunter, I'm going to try and look at things that are not places or things that I would normally look at. Even things that you would normally say, well, no, that's not my taste. I'm always thinking of taste. That's not my taste. And a lot of people, if you think, they say, I don't do that, I'm not interested. They're very judgmental. Foucault's got a very good phrase. He says, the judges of normality are everywhere. In other words, we're very quick in human beings to judge things. Now, the thing is with a Coolhunter, taking the concept further and linking it to creativity, the Coolhunter is actually to be a Coolhunter, I'm going to actually go and look at other things. I'm going to go places that I normally wouldn't go. That's what I'm saying to you. To go places, even if it's online, even if it's online platforms or blog platforms that might be talking about things that you would normally, I'm not that interested in them, rather than judge them, what are they talking about? Why are so many people interested in these topics? What type of content is being produced by them that is so different? How are they taking, if you like, this content and how could you take that content, therefore, and could you change it or use it or improvise something with it, like you see here, to actually produce something else? So, and it's always the key. You get people talking to you all the time and they say about, oh, be creative, step outside the box, which is absolute nonsense, because what does that actually mean? Well, a good way of actually, if you like, getting outside the box or popping your logic bubble for me is basically to engage with different concepts, such as obviously the Coolhunter or neo-tribalism. Or in this case, well, when we talk about creativity, a very simple way of thinking about, well, how would I do it? Basically, I don't think it's a case of unlearning the pre-existing behaviours, but if I look at the behaviours of others who are doing things different from me, then I could maybe learn how to develop my creativity through them. And of course, that links us to the notions as how the brain works, because you constantly hear again things, people talking to you about the left hemisphere of the brain and the right hemisphere of the brain. And it's a justification again to say, oh, well, I'm a very left hemisphere, I'm a very logical individual, very rational, very organised and structured, so I'm not creative, whereas those creative guys of the right hemisphere, they use that other side of the brain. When really it's an interaction of brain networks. Now, we've got them here, but I've actually got a video online that goes into them. So rather than me go into them, if you actually look at the online resource, it talks about the interaction of brain networks rather than the overemphasis of one or the other. Now, we obviously we can use one more than the other, if you like, but the fact is it's more of the creative process can come from the interaction of brain networks. But most importantly, I would suggest for most of you that the reason that you inhibit your creativity and maybe where the Coolhunters, they're actually deliberately going looking, for something unusual, is often we've got too many minds. We're too cluttered with our daily lives. Okay, so we never really get a chance to relax and basically to divert attention somewhere else. And that is the beauty of the Coolhunter stuff, because you're diverting your attention all the time to look at other things. You're opening up. If you just, I think I said it before, it's like epistemological cakes. Rather than you just restricting yourself to one thing, take a chance, go and look at something else. Open up your world. Divert your attention where? Go somewhere that you'd normally never go, okay? And see what's being said online. You can do it very easily online because of the digital world. It's very easy to do. You can do it online. Einstein used to have this thing about imagination being more powerful than knowledge. People talk about him having these daydreaming classes as a way of trying to unblock and release his creativity, right? Letting your mind wander. In fact, famously, I don't know if I'd said to you, famously he talks about this idea of riding on a sunbeam, or a beam of light, I should say, a beam of light, and from that allowed him to conceptualise the theory of relativity, or that was part of the process. And we all get that mind block stuff. So how do you become creative? Well, obviously the Cool Hunter concept gives you an idea, shows you where to go and look. Look at those people in the margins, look at those things in the margins, and try and say, how can I take or adapt some of their stuff and bring it to the mainstream? You'll see it in a minute when I'm talking about subcultures. And obviously things that loads of folk do, well, how do they do it? How do they get their brain to switch the brain off and just let it wander? Is people go for a walk, go for a run. People do loads of stuff, they think of something from their past, and just to let their mind release and therefore hopefully come back to a problem and fix it. And personally for me, I'm a mad mind map freak, which is the guy's name's Tony Bazan. I used to run sessions on this to show you how you can actually use all these kind of things, aspects of your brain, because your brain is what's called a branch association machine for me, and how you can use divergent thinking and all the rest of it. But mind maps are a great way of doing it because they use colour, they use curvature, and they use loads of different aspects of the brain to become creative, okay? And a lot of folk will talk about doodling as a simple way of doing it. But the Cool Hunters basically is the thing I want to try and get you back to, and saying that the Cool Hunters links into the creative process, because then once you've looked at something, how am I looking at them? How am I going to do something slightly different with what I'm looking at online, okay? And what a lot of cool hunting trends came from is they went and they looked at the neo-tribal, or if you like, subcultural movements, which I'm just about to look at just in a minute. So let's go straight into it and have a wee quick look. Okay, so I'm going to look at the past here, okay, and I'm going to show you a number of clips, and I'm going to actually put those clips, and then we're going to question hopefully some of those clips in classroom, because it will give us something to think about, because it really ties very comfortably into the issue of the cool hunter and your creativity. If you really want to try and become a cool hunter, and how can I unleash my creativity, this is a very, very good way of doing it, okay? So let's have a look at these subcultural movements, or what we'll do, I'm just looking at the time, so I want to keep clips basically under 10 minutes. What we're going to do is we're going to move now to another clip where we'll look at these subcultural youth movements, and there's going to be a lot of clips in here, okay? So I'll go to another clip. So let's do that next.